Good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners. Commissioners check-in for Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. It's 1:35 p.m. My name is Ty Menser, Chair of the Board. To my left is Commissioner Carolina Mejia, and participating virtually is Vice Chair Commissioner Wayne Fournier, and Commissioner Emily Klaus. Commissioner Grant's excused for this session. And County Manager Leonard Hernandez is with us. We do have public virtual attendance on the Thurston County YouTube channel, and written comment may be received up to 2 hours in advance of the meeting and distributed to the board. Action may be taken at this meeting. We have a agenda item related to kind of our standard external boards and commission information sharing or reports. Commissioner Mejia, do you want to start? Do you have anything? No, I can double back to you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Klaus, anything you wanted to report?
Nope, nothing to report.
Okay. Vice Chair Fournier?
Yeah, had a great fire commissioners meeting last night. It was held virtually. There was a report given from it's the director of their CARES program at Olympia Fire. It's a co-response unit that goes out to supplement their first responders, and they kind of do, easily described as social work. They do a lot of follow-up for kind of like the low acuity calls that are there's a lot of calls that come out that aren't even really medical calls. They're just people that need help. Maybe they don't know how to take their medication, or somebody's been falling at home and they haven't been educated on like fall prevention devices. So they have a unit that will go out and they'll find funding, and they might go and help put grab bars in a bathtub or next to a bed, or they'll go in and kind of educate them on how to take their pills properly, or even ensure that they're not getting different medications from different doctors that are that are counteracting each other. And it's a really fascinating program. There's several agencies throughout the state and nation that have adopted it, and Olympia does it in a very good way. So had a really good presentation from I believe her name is, oh gosh, Starlene, maybe. I kind of want to do some follow-up with her and just kind of learn more from her about it. And Ben Miller Todd was there as well. He gave a presentation and talked about the Suboxone and opioid response kind of rollout, because there's a lot of social work aspect to what firefighters do, since the 70s, and adopting the kind of the EMS side of things. And it was good. So it was a good, well-rounded discussion from those presenters and all the commissioners that were present, and it was a good meeting.
Cool, thank you. I'll report on a few things. The Deschutes Watershed Council, I'll just repeat kind of the history a little bit for anyone that may not have been tracking this. So, we have the Nisqually River Council, and we have the Chehalis Basin Partnership, but we've never been able to stand up a watershed group related to the Deschutes. It's been something that's been tried to have been done for many years before I was on the board. When the Streamflow Restoration Act created that need to create watershed plans in order to offset permit exempt wells, that was all kind of getting going when I joined the board. There was a group formed called the REC, they called it, WREC, and they created the watershed plan. It included creation of the Deschutes Watershed Council. Everyone agreed on that. At the 11th hour, Commissioner Mejia will remember, we had some changes requested by the Squaxin Island tribe. We incorporated those changes. that made the building industry of Washington, which was one of the stakeholders, pull their support. And without 100% consensus, the plan doesn't get approved. So then it goes to ecology, and it was submitted in December of this past year. So that plan's coming forward, but ecology did not adopt the unanimous recommendation of the group to create a Deschutes Watershed Council. So the folks that were involved in that process, which include the City of Tumwater, City of Olympia, Squaxin Island Tribe, DIRT, a community group that works on Deschutes Estuary, and others, have come together, have been meeting periodically over the last 3 years since that whole process broke down to see if there's a way to separately create a Deschutes Watershed Council. They tried to get legislative funding, that didn't quite work out. But finally, I think everyone's at a point where they're tired of being told no, and the consensus of the group is that this needs to happen come hell or high water. I'm just going to kind of paraphrase. And so there's been a decision to just push this forward, period. And so we had a meeting last week. They invited me because I've just been the one kind of tracking it from the county's perspective. And they created a subcommittee of 5 or 6 people that are going to put a very specific proposal together to then bring back to the group. We're going to meet in 2 months to consider what the subcommittees come up with, and then you'll probably be seeing something presented to, more formally to try to get this council started and discuss how it could be supported. So anyway, that was an interesting meeting because that's been going on for a while. A second thing, the Chehalis Basin Partnership, which usually conflicts with the Building Code Council, and I usually can't go, and my assistant goes for me, and there's always county staff there. I was able to go myself, and one of the things that was interesting was the Scatter Creek local strategy, which has been worked on through a consultant and stakeholders, is about ready to be inked, and we'll be seeing the final report in June with a whole bunch of activities related to trying to increase the health, stream health, water quality, and water quantity concerns around Scatter Creek. So everyone should keep their eyes out for that. Third, I wanted to talk about the Board of Natural Resources tour I went on because it was pretty interesting. We got to tour a bunch of different sites. One of them was a commercial DNR was trying to show the board all the different sort of pieces of its portfolio, so to speak, and doing it around Thurston County so that it was, efficient to get to different sites. So we went to a site that was a commercial property right in the heart of Hawks Prairie, basically behind Costco or something. They own this big parcel, and they talked about all the different types of commercial properties that they manage in that way and that they can lease or sell, and what the considerations are for when they sell versus when they lease versus when they let housing be built versus something else, and all the different financial parts of that calculus. That was interesting because I didn't really know about that part. Then we went to two different places in Capitol State Forest to look at what they're calling Maturation 2. And I learned a lot about how the foresters go about deciding what these Maturation 2, basically how does younger forest become older forest, and what are those intermediary stages, and what are they looking for to make those determinations? That was really quite interesting. And then we went to Mima Mounds to see kind of a public access, education. We also went to the McLean Nature Trail. We went all over the place. So that was all interesting. And even more interesting was that in the van that I was driving around the whole county with, I was seated next to a Board of Natural Resources member, the UW representative, whose name is Dan Brown. And he was a professor at UW, and he was quite interested in all of the different positions that we've taken about the timber sales and kind of grilling me about that, and having a healthy discussion back and forth about kind of what a long-term strategy could look like. So it was a super interesting day. So anyway, wanted to just talk about that. Finally, the Thurston First DEI Summit. This was something I was going to talk to the county manager about later today, but Commissioner Mejia made reference to it, I think yesterday. We were in a breakout session for elected officials and about how to jurisdiction leaders, about how do we plug into the racial equity work and make the councils, more effective and all that. And so it was kind of a roundtable, free-flowing discussion. And the idea was put forward, which I've been in favor of for a while, but at a vague high level, was having our racial equity councils work together across the jurisdictions. And it was great because there were members of the racial equity councils there, including one of our co-chairs. So everybody thought that was a good idea. And everyone was like, well, who wants to host this meeting? And Commissioner Mejia and I were kind of put on the spot. So I went ahead and volunteered that the county could host the first meeting. We're thinking September, to allow some things, pieces to get put into place. And so, again, I don't think we'll have any special role other than just maybe, setting an agenda and notices and offering space. It's going to be.
It's more for the councils rather than the elected officials.
Yeah.
To
them to talk about their goals and priorities and ways they can work together and stuff. I think it could be really a powerful step forward for our racial equity work countywide. But anyway, so that's something that came out of that, and it was a very good event overall. Well done.
Just wanted to be sure that it was on the record that it was.
It was me. I mean, it was this silence in the room, and I felt all eyes on me. I was like, let's do it. So hopefully that's acceptable to everybody. And Commissioner Mejia, you have a report.
Well, we reported on for the WASAC Board of Directors that Derek Young is the new executive director for that position.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of, I'm not sure, Commissioner Vencer, if you remember any. I believe that the public defense case is going to be heard in June sometime by the Supreme Court.
Let me look at that.
They finally set, I remember that they finally set a date for sometime in June. I just don't remember exactly when. But that's the big piece on whether, the lawsuit that we've entered with WASAC on.
June 16th, 11 a.m., 15 minutes each side for the hearing. It's a summary judgment on a standing issue only.
On the standing issue, so yeah.
It could go on after that, but.
But we've been waiting for that to be heard, for that summary judgment to be heard for a long time. So, that's something, of course, that's of vital interest to us because it comes into the public defense funding piece and whether the state is responsible for funding half of the cost for public defense. So, and then I think this is more of a commissioner item piece, so I'll just leave it for commissioner item. I think that's all.
Okay. Something else I was going to say. Can't remember. All right. So then we'll go on. We have commissioner items. The one item here that's listed is the land acknowledgement. This is my item, and I'll just explain. I've talked to a couple of you offline, but I'm the one that originally drafted the land acknowledgement, and my two goals were to make it very concise, but as concise as possible, but as meaningful as possible, and stripped of cliche. So those were just kind of like my operating principles. I've never been really happy with the phraseology of stewarded this since time immemorial. That just always kind of made me bristle a little bit because it felt kind of like cliched language that, you hear. I don't know. I wanted something that was just a little more crisp. And I saw, so I revised that. And then I added a sentence at the end, which I took from a Brown University land acknowledgement when I was at a presentation with my daughter at Brown University. I just liked it. It was very concise and it stated something that I think we all feel and care about, which is working together to build our future with truth. So that felt to me like very meaningful, but also very concise and, didn't make our land acknowledgement overly, clunky. So I just proposed those small tweaks, just because I think it makes it a little better. But, like I say, I know it's not perfect and we could probably five of us could draft 5 different land acknowledgements, but I wanted to propose these to the board if they liked them or felt comfortable with them. Any thoughts or comments about that?
I liked the one that you had. I thought it was great. I like the one that you redrafted. I think it's improved. Um, I would like, as we consider it, I think it's like perfect timing because we've got the upcoming meetings with the different tribal councils to just share it with them and get their opinion and buy-in or blessing and uh, you know if we do that, I think we got a great product.
And Commissioner Fournier had suggested that to me, and that's kind of the timing. This has been sitting on my desk for actually a couple of months or so, and with those meetings coming up, obviously the board would have to agree that we would share these with the tribes for their input, which I'm okay with, but, this is good timing for making that decision if we want to go that route. Commissioner Mejia, thumbs up.
Yeah, thank you so much for working on this. I do like your proposed revision. I think there's split feelings when it comes to land acknowledgements, but I think you've done a really good job on your revisions and it's very thoughtful, so thank you.
All right, appreciate that. Commissioner Klaus, any concern with the revisions and/or the idea of sharing them with the tribes for input?
No, I like the revisions and I appreciate the suggestion to share it with the tribes. I think that's definitely a must-do step in the process, but I think that you did a great job with the revisions.
Perfect, thank you. So, clerk of the board and county manager.
Yep, we'll share it and
Got that.
the revisions.
And so I would just take I would propose to just take the revised version and just say, hey, we
Let us know if you have any.
asked the tribes if they had any thoughts about it they wanted to share.
Perfect.
Okay, other commissioner items, Commissioner Mejia.
Yeah, I just want to give a heads up. So a couple months ago, me and Commissioner Grant had the opportunity to go with the BHASO to Connections. As the process has been moving along, they have applied for a state grant. And I believe they got it. That's kind of what I heard, but I'm not sure if they have or not officially. So do not quote me on that. But as I've been in conversations with different community partners, there is an interest from several organizations to go and tour Connections. And I wanted to see if any commissioners would be interested in that. And then if so, if they could coordinate with the county manager, that way it could be added to the master calendar. And so they're looking at the possibility of the week of June 9th, but that's not for sure yet. I just wanted to kind of, if you are interested, let the county manager know, so as we're coordinating schedules.
Touring what?
The Connections facility.
Is that for the,
That is,
is that the Nisqually?
no, that is up in, it's kind of like a drop-in facility for like a behavioral health walk-in.
Yeah.
Crisis
What
care
county?
unit. It's in King County.
King County, okay. I mean, if the schedule could work, I would be interested. I know, isn't there a tour of the new Nisqually facility? I
Yes.
think that same day, the 9th.
Yeah, this is the week of, so, yeah, so that's why I'm like, if you're interested, please just coordinate with the county manager. And
Is there someone we should be coordinating with on Connections side?
Joe is assisting with that, Joe Avalos. And I know Taylor is working with the different community partners who are also interested in going as well.
So if we hear from any of the commissioners, we'll let Joe know and copy Taylor.
Yeah, I'll take a look at my calendar and thanks for helping put that together, Commissioner Mia.
Any other commissioner items? I don't have any personally, besides what we've covered. Nothing? Okay, thank you, everybody. We're adjourned.
Thank you so much.